Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I have a reaction video for you. This one has been sent to me a few times, nothing crazy, but I thought let's do it anyway. So today we are going to look at Dove Cameron's romantic day to night look with British Vogue. I think she does some skincare before, but that's not really my realm. I'll watch it anyway, but I can't really comment on her skin, how it affects her skin. I can comment on maybe on how it may affect makeup. Just before we get into that today, if this is your first time here on my channel, hi, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life, and it's my goal to help you become a pro yourself or just someone who's really good at makeup. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then please consider subscribing. Should we just jump straight into it? Dove Cameron, romantic day to night look. Usually when I do these reaction videos, I'm not familiar with some of the people. More recently I have been, but I know who Dove Cameron is. She is a Disney star, of course, well, used to be. So I am familiar with who she is. Okay, let's go.
This is real science. You're about to see some serious Hi Vogue, this is Dove Cameron, and today I'm going to show you how I create a romantic day into evening look. It's a look that I've done forever. Very skin-focused, classic.
For 1 second there, I thought that was color corrector and I was about to lose my shit.
Usually I'll prep my skin by cleansing and then I'll pop a little eye patch on. Now,
I do have to say, eye prep is so underrated in makeup. Hydrating under the eye area, we're so quick to dry it out with powders and set everything. But if we prep correctly underneath, then you're pretty much good to go. So things like eye patch in terms of makeup prep to hydrate under the eye is a really good idea. Don't forget to hydrate it. Don't be too quick to dry it out with powder. Try super hydrating first and seeing how that goes for you.
I go in with an oil. We're gonna need lots of dewiness. It just hydrates more than anything. The reason that we are going in with oil first is because we are going to do gua sha.
So usually I wouldn't recommend using oil as... Actually, that's a lie, because I really like to use like the e.l.f. priming oils. If you have excessively oily skin, of course have oils in your skincare routine. But as I mentioned in a lot of videos, your makeup skin prep routine may be dramatically different to your actual skincare routine. So in your makeup prep routine, I do tend to stay away from oils except from under the eyes. However, I have put an oil on my skin today as a prep. I'm actually really liking it. So don't overlook oils, but just make sure you're using a tiny amount. What Dove's doing here is she's going to be pushing it and moving it around, and so you're not going to have that surface layer of oil hanging around. Oil breaks down makeup. We use oil-based makeup removers to remove our makeup, so do just be careful how much you're using. But it's not to say don't. Try it one day. Try it under your foundation. If you have time to touch up throughout the day, then it's a nice option. Skin prep is everything. Oily skins, don't go crazy with oil. Experiment with oil. You don't know how your skin's working. Mine is extremely dry at the moment, so to have that kind of oil isn't affecting me so much. I'm only going to sit here for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours filming videos today. So I know I can take this off, my makeup off straight after. I'm not, I don't want it to last 8+ hours, you know, so.
Important that you hold your skin so that you're not like really dragging it. It brings all the blood to the surface. Put it in the fridge in the morning. Great for depuffing.
This is such a good point. There's so many tools out there that are good for like depuffing the face. Put a spoon in the fridge and then like do what she's doing with an oil if you can't afford, if you don't want to go and get like a roller or tools like this. A metal spoon, perfect.
Maybe a little on your forehead, a little stress relief.
Don't drag it around the face, but you know, to like add some coldness.
Then I'm gonna go in with my daily moisturizer. I always pair moisturizer with oil, even if it might seem excessive. I like to know that my moisture is gonna last throughout the day.
So I'm assuming she has a drier skin type, because when I'm prepping an oilier skin, my own skin in particular, I wouldn't exactly mix oil and moisturizer. For a nighttime skincare routine, absolutely, but prepping your skin for makeup, the goal is longevity and wearing your makeup and have your makeup lasting all day. So if you do have drier skin, perhaps, I bet foundation is going to look incredible on top of that. Oilier skins, you can bet it's going to break down. But I mean, she has incredible skin. I wonder what she's going to do in terms of foundation. If I could just moisturize my face and be done with it, then I'll be so happy. Yeah.
And then my eye cream. I am going to use some SPF. Never skip your sunscreen. Because I want this look to last all day, I am going to use actual foundation. I am also going to use my beauty blender today, going for a little bit more dewy look.
I love how she is applying this foundation. How we're not dripping it on the skin, we're not caking it on. It's a tiny bit at a time. You can see she's really working at that foundation. This is nice and this is refreshing to see. This is very nice.
I'm wearing oil under true foundation. Will keep it from looking too matte. Next, I'm going to go in with a primer that is going to lay a path for my concealer.
I don't know what primer she's using. I wonder if this is a face primer or an eye primer. Eye primers, I've never seen someone do this, put a primer on top of their foundation. Very strange. However, so let's take into consideration, if it's eye primer is fine to use underneath the eye. Just don't dry it out too much. That's the only thing. Go for more of a liquid-based eye primer, something like Urban Decay's Priming Potion, the purple one, or the new Rare Beauty one. Makeup Revolution do Prime and Lock eyeshadow primer, which is a great, more liquid-based version. They're great if you have dry eyelids or dry under eyes. So yeah, that's fine under the eyes. I've never seen it done in terms of this. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, it isn't bad to put primer on top of foundation. Bear in mind, you may change the texture of your foundation. But here we have really light layers. I honestly can't really say anything. I've never done this or seen someone put a foundation, primer, concealer. So
just any spot where there's discoloration or obviously like a spot. Normally I would use a dry beauty blender, but again, today we're going for a really dewy, romantic look.
I still think if you want matte skin, you can still use a hydrated beauty blender, because that's the point. You want that bounce. It isn't whether it's wet or dry, really. It's the texture and the pressure. Dry sponges are like, whereas with a wet one, it doesn't have to be completely damp. You should be wringing it out so you don't feel too wet. But it's more of a pressure of a sponge, not the texture of a sponge, And
I usually hold off on doing the under eyes until a little bit later to get a chance to really get tacky.
So this is something, leaving product on the skin. This is something, when I first started doing makeup, right? I had a trainer who, if you're familiar with MAC products, I worked for MAC years and years and years ago, and the pot concealer, the Studio Finish concealer, I believe it's called, so drying, even though it's like a cream, it's like this really dry cream. She would never let me put it straight on the face. It always had to be warmed up, warm. Body temperature is heat, so it changes the texture of a product, so it can make it easier to blend, can make it darken sometimes, and I think this is something that makeup artists do a lot, is allow body, it's no secret, it's no like new trend that body temperature and body heat warms up products. So I think it's become very popular online. There's makeup artists who made it more popular online as well. But warming up products, if you have a product that's too thick and too cakey but you still want it to be full coverage but it looks cakey, warm it up with your hand, whack a hairdryer on it.
Now we're going to go in with our actual concealer, which is a little bit brighter. I usually like to stay lighter coverage than this, but because we want it to last all day, we're doing a little bit more layering.
So I just want to jump in here and say something. Not saying what she is doing here is wrong, because it's her skin. She knows how it's going to act with makeup throughout the day. However, more coverage doesn't mean longer lasting for a lot of people. It can mean quite the opposite sometimes. Remember, the more makeup you're wearing, if your makeup if your makeup changes and you find you have to fix it throughout the day, more makeup means more fixing. There's more stuff to fix. So the less is easier to repair. So yeah, more coverage isn't necessarily longer lasting.
I'm going to go in with a layer of powder now. Because I have so much oil and real foundation on my skin, this is going to help to set it.
What does she mean by real foundation? I wonder what she does usually. This is a great way to use a brush. One thing I would say, where she's holding the brush, we all know brushes apply more pressure the further down you hold them, the further up, the lighter you get. But she's doing a really nice layer here. it's really nice not to see this heavy, 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 heavy foundation, powder, layer of powder, especially under the eyes and everywhere else. I really appreciate how soft-handed she is being. I really do appreciate that. Again, setting makeup with powder doesn't mean longer lasting. Remember, for a lot of people, what ruins your makeup is on the skin. It's oil, it's dry skin, it's texture. So putting something on top, unless something is coming in from this way and ruining your makeup, are like rain or water, or maybe someone's got a bucket of water and they're thrown at you, it doesn't always mean it's going to last longer. Powder may help the initial setting and the initial keeping it in place for a few hours, but remember, oil coming from the skin, dry skin, anything that absorbs moisture is like drier patches of skin is going to be what ruins your foundation in the long run. So it's all about skin prep. Think about prioritize skin prep over powder.
Oil plus the foundation and the liquid blush can kind of get a little mishmashy, so I go in with a powdered blush, and the oil really grabs it and it really stays all day. Ooh. That hits. We love that.
So usually when it comes to blush, and again, I did forget to mention at the beginning of this, when I make comments about positioning and things like that, it will be what I would do to the client, depending on their face shape and facial structure. Where she's put it is actually really nice. I usually don't say to put like blush on the apples of the cheeks if you do have a rounder face. But there's something about her face. Let me try and capture it. Here. So she has this really, can you see my mouse? Yeah. It would be nice here also, but she already has this kind of structure here. So just on the apples of her cheeks, I think gives this really nice accentuated roundness. So when she faces to the side... Wait, I want to get her out the side. Okay, here. Capturing this colour here when she's at this angle is a really nice touch. Otherwise, it'll be round this side of her face here. For her face shape, because she is rounded, she does have a pointier chin. Not in a bad way, she has a stunning face. So to level that out in like this V shape is a really, really nice, is a nice thing to do. Because if we were up here, we might sharpen this way too much. So to soften up this whole area, that is great positioning for that blush.
Start on my brows. For a look like this, I like to keep my brows really fluffy. I want them to look like woodland pixie brows. Yeah. I'm gonna go in with just a clear gel. We're gonna leave them there so that they dry, because right now they are a little wet. And we are gonna go in on mascara. Look how lethal this is. Wow. I like this curve and I like the teeth to make it really easy.
Mascaras with curves in the brush. Listen. When we're talking about mascaras, forget the formula. Well, don't forget it, but don't consider it as much as the shape of a brush. A curved brush, I just think does everything. It lifts, it pushes upwards, it gives, which is the same as lifting. It can curl. Also, as well, if you have really curly lashes, that kind of curl backwards, a curved brush is a really good way to kind of go from the top to kind of push them out a little bit more. If you want to wear like false lashes, for example, and you have trouble getting the lash on, but it's a really great way to kind of just push them down a tiny bit. I actually have to do that on this eyebrow because my lash goes up and inwards, but that's because I fucked them up with a lighter, not because I have nice curly lashes. But yeah, do pay attention to your brushes on mascaras. Curves, amazing.
While I am still waiting for my lashes and brows to dry, I am going to go in with my shadow. This is my most favorite thing in the world. It looks like a cream, but the moment it dries, it functions like a glitter and it does not move. And I like to use a flat brush because not only does it sweep across the lid nicely, but then you can go back and dip just the tip and then get your inner corner. Look at that, that just completely dry. I'm telling you, this is chemistry. And then, just for a little pop on the eyes, I'm gonna take a clear gloss right under my brow bone. Next, I'm gonna go in with medium individual lashes.
I have no fucking time. No time for individual lashes. I hate them so much. It always reminds me of having like a test in makeup that I did a while ago, ages ago. And part of the like a test was individual lashes, and I was sticking these individual lashes on, and the room I was in, the carpet was like really dark grey with black specks, and I dropped so many and I couldn't find them. It just really bad, really bad memories. It was great to see how she does this.
Find that starting from the middle and working your way out really opens up the eye.
Bigger lashes in the middle. So sometimes we're very used to those lashes that get longer on the outside and flick up and out. If you have a lash that's more like like this, not a triangle, but like shorter on these corners and gets bigger as it goes out, lifts up the middle of the eye. So if you do find that you want that open eye, not like this, but an eye that's a little bit more open, is a great tip.
Just to blend the lash line a little bit, I'm gonna go 1 or 2 short ones where it meets my lashes. It doesn't look so crazy. We are gonna leave the lashes for now. I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit of powder. You can put it over the top of the blush and it's not gonna diminish it in any way. So now we're gonna go in on the brows with a little bit of pencil. Because this is a romantic look, I'm not gonna go for a heavy brow tonight. I don't want to add too much color.
Also heavier brow. I think a lot of people don't realise how much this middle part of your brow affects your face. If I was to bring in my brows closer together, it would make my nose here narrower, but also heavier. It would make my eyes look heavier and dense on this inside corner. If you like a lighter like inside corner and you want to look, if you want the look to look softer, then it is nicer to do a fade outwards. And if your brows are quite thick like mine, just only shade in the outside corner and comb up the front with something quite wet, like a gel maybe, because then it will give you a little bit more spike and make it a little bit soft. I know it's difficult with thicker brows to get that softer look, but just by using something that will kind of really comb through and kind of group together some of your lashes, you can get a softer look that way.
And that's it. This look is a twist on the wearable everyday.
Oh, so that was quick. Really nice. Really nice. I really like, it's really great. I think we're so used to seeing people apply powder like this and getting shit everywhere and there's fucking contour lines and it's all heavy-handed, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but it's nice to see it being more like fluidity to the movements, and because it does help where you hold brushes and the way you use your brushes helps the, you know, affects the makeup. So it's really nice to see a delicate hand, a delicate touch. Even if you're doing full coverage, a nice delicate hand still makes it better. That was a really nice everyday wearable look. I think it's a great idea to experiment with your skincare. Use some things before your makeup prep skincare. Use some things maybe you didn't think you should, like oils a tiny bit. Oil primers tend to work really great as well. But yeah, it's nice to... I'm kind of happy that there's a trend of everyone's kind of like into skincare quite heavily at the moment, because it is so important. I think makeup over skincare, I think skincare over makeup should be people's preference, if that makes sense. I think you should really focus on having your skincare looking great, having your skincare down, and making a really nice canvas for your makeup. And that doesn't mean clear skin, and it doesn't mean poreless, and it doesn't mean wrinkle-free. It just means that your skin feels healthy and you're happy with the way you're treating your skin. So yeah, that was I didn't really have much feedback because it was really nice. That's a really great like wedding look, minus the skin prep, because for a wedding you want it to last a very long time. So I would customize it more to the bride's skin type and how their skin acts with makeup. I hope you can take something away from that video and any of the advice I've given. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you want to. I have a whole playlist of reacting to videos. Some I get angry, some I cry. No, I don't cry. Some I love, some I'm somewhere in between. You know what? I think I've said this before, but you know what always surprises me about reacting to these videos? It's always the people who aren't beauty gurus, who I absolutely love. And even if they do full coverage inspired by beauty guru makeup, they can do heavy contour, heavy stuff. It just always seems done better than no offense, because I watch beauty gurus too. I think they're very artistic and it's a certain form of makeup, but it's always more wearable and realistic in terms of how long the makeup will last, and how you can actually go out into the real world wearing that kind of thing. How it looks in pictures, how it looks in real life. I'm always more impressed with them. Yeah. Okay. Take from that what you will. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.